tyronshum.com. And firstly, I just want to welcome you to come on to this night to watch this webinar that I'm presenting on how to find profitable niches. And I'm really excited for you to be all on the call tonight because I'm going to be able to share with you some really, really amazing information. Now, I just want to run through a few quick things before we do get started. I know that there are going to be a few more people coming into the call, which is great. And I know that it's been also booked out for full seating. So very, very excited to share this really, really amazing information. Now, this webinar series is going to be running over a course of about 8 weeks. And as you would have received in the email, I specified exactly step by step what's going to be happening over the course of these next 8 weeks. So I'll be doing my best to present to you as much of the information I can in what I do in my business and also what my whole team does currently right now. And hopefully you can pick up all this information, take it away, use it, apply it, and just get your business up and running to be able to have profitable niches and also have them outsourced for a team to be able to help you generate that passive income. So my goal here is just to provide you as much information as possible, and you guys can take whatever you want to use and apply in your business. And I love to be able to hear your successes as well. And over the course of the time, you can share with me how things are going, and I'll also allow for a session right at the end as well for your questions and answers. So what I might do right now is just before I do get started, is just to do a quick sound check, and I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. On the right-hand side of your control panel, you'll probably see a questions area. You can block your questions in there. If you wouldn't mind just answering yes to let me know that you can hear me clearly, then we can really get the call started and it's not nice and clear. Good. So I'm getting some responses back from people saying that I'm nice and clear, which is good to hear. Fantastic. All right, so what I'm planning to do is that I'll be running through and giving you an overview of what's going to be inside this webinar today. And furthermore, as I mentioned, at the end of this, I'll be allowing a Q&A session, just open up for a period of time so that you can ask me questions. Now, during the course of this webinar, if you do have a particular question that you want to ask, just put it in the questions box on the right-hand side in your control panel, and I'll definitely come back to it at the end, and I'll open up the line for you if you want to talk to me and ask me questions as well, and we can go through and answer them for you. All right, so the first thing I want to do is just to get straight into it because there's a lot of information that I want to share with you, particularly in this particular area, because this first webinar, this first week of finding a profitable niche is really a key point in your success. And in order to be able to set up the right profitable niche, you really need to do the proper research and using the right tools, and also to make sure that you are doing the right research. Whether or not you do it yourself or you get your virtual assistant to help you, I'll share with you both sides. Over the course of this first webinar, I'm going to run through the step-by-step process in how to do it, and then you can basically give this webinar to a virtual assistant at your choice, or you can implement this yourself. All right, let's run straight into it. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is to go through and talk a little bit more about what's going to be inside. So I'm just going to hit the play slideshow right now. And as you can see, we're going to be looking at how to find profitable niches. Now, before starting, there is a few things that I need you to do as well. It wouldn't really make a difference if you want to. You can actually go to and download a copy of Market Samurai, because throughout this whole webinar, I'm going to be referring to it back and forth. Now, Market Samurai, it gives you a free trial for a period of time, and you can just go ahead and download it right now. And I'll give you the link on where to download it. I'll just close this up. So basically, okay, so if you just go to www.test Market Samurai, this will take you directly to where you can just download a copy of Market Samurai. .com. So it's www.testmarketsamurai.com. And what I recommend you do is go there and just download a free copy there and have it installed. Now, if you do have Market Samurai already on your computer, great. I'm going to be running through it and showing you some tips and tools and stuff like that in that particular software. But I will be using this particular software to refer to from time to time during this webinar. So that way, if you want to follow along, do exactly what I'm doing, just, take steps and stuff, just plug it in, you can. You're most welcome to do that. So, go ahead now if you want to, go and download a copy of Market Samurai and just have that installed as well. And that will definitely give you a hand. If you don't have a chance now to do it, that's fine. I'll run through it and you can always go back to this replay and follow me step by step through. But this will save you ample amount of time, because a lot of people go out there and do keyword research through the manual method, and it's free to do it that way, but it takes probably about 10 times longer. And what I want you to do is to be able to help you fast track your success by basically skipping over that time that you spend researching. And when I say skipping over, not spend so much time on it, but to go there and really find those profitable keywords, which is what we want to do at the end of the day. All right, so if you do want to get a copy of it, just go to testmarketsamurai.com. Next thing I'm going to do is just go through an overview of what's going to be next. So I'll just move to the next slide. Okay. An overview of what we're going to be talking about inside this webinar. The first thing is that I'm going to be talking and discussing it with you and sharing with you what is a niche. A lot of you may already know what a niche is and also what markets are and so forth like that, but I want to just clarify and make sure that I suggest to you exactly what I'm referred to as being a niche. So that way, you can also understand how niches work properly, and also too, what are some of the key aspects that you need to look out for. The other thing as well is I'm going to be talking about next is generating ideas for niches. That will be the second part of this webinar, and I'll be going through and showing you exactly where the places I go for to generate some ideas for the particular topics I've done. Currently, I've got 10 niche websites that we've researched for that are very targeted and also are profiting at this point in time. So I've done the proper keyword research within my team and be able to generate those right keywords to be able to create those niche sites that are profitable. And then also too, I'm going to be sharing with you the research analysis of your ideas. And this is where we'll be delving into Market Samurai to be able to do our proper research and find out that if these keywords are viable and also profitable as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about, firstly, what is a niche. I'm going to just jump over to my screen here. That will be able to show you exactly what it is. And the first thing is that I want to define to you what is the market. And this is taking basically a step back. Basically, what we want to do is that we want to go and look into a market where there's plenty of demand for a particular product, or looking for a market where there's plenty of demand for a particular interest. And it could be anywhere from looking at, say, like, let's take, for example, cars. Cars is a huge market. I'm just going to use this as an example. I just made this up right now. But the thing is that there's so many people in this one particular market competing to be able to optimize for the word cars, selling products in cars. And this is the most difficult thing. You don't want to go into a market where there's just so much competition and there's way too much demand. So the reason why we actually look into and break it down is we go into and look into subcategories of what cars are. And let's just say, for example, like BMW would be one. You can probably tell what kind of cars I like in terms of when I write these down. So Mercedes, Porsches, etc. So basically, these cars down here are subcategories within inside the cars market. And basically, this is what we call niches. You could even go even further into these niches if you want, because obviously niches such as BMW, Mercedes, Porsches can even be broken down into, say, BMW accessories. Can be even broken down into parts, etc. So many different areas that you can break down to. But basically what you want to do is to firstly discover a market, which is, say, for example, cars, and then we break it down into a subcategory, which is niches. And this is the component that I'm going to be talking about quite in detail today. And just for you to understand how it all works, because if you can find a really, really profitable niche, then it's very, very easy for us to be able to write really good content for it and also turn it and monetize these particular niches. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of what really a market is in terms of a niche. Okay, so the next thing I want to share with you is how do we go about doing this, and describing in terms of what kind of keywords you need to look for. So I'm going to just break it down for you. Sorry about that. Basically, let's just take this market, for example, as we said, cars. And inside cars, I'm just going to focus on, say, a niche called BMW. I could even break it down further, as I said, could be BMW accessories and all those kind of things. Now, what we want to do is that we want to do our keyword research based on BMW, not on cars, based on say, for example, BMW. And it's so important for us to find the right keywords, because if you have come up with a fantastic idea and you don't know how competitive this market is, you don't know what the supply and demand is, you don't even know if it is actually a money-making market, then you're basically just jumping into a market that you're just guessing. And that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to make sure that if we have discovered a market that we're interested in or that we think that there's potential in, then you want to do the proper keyword research. And the keyword research in terms of looking for niche markets is really like digging for diamonds. And I'll give you an example. Diamonds usually are really, really deep, buried deep in the ground. All right, here's a little example of it. The reason why I know about diamonds is because I recently got engaged, so I was looking out for a diamond. And I guess it makes it so much easier for me because my family is in the jewelry business. So I can pretty much talk about diamonds and jewelry and all that stuff all day long if you wanted to. But basically what it is that diamonds are buried really, really deep in the ground. And it takes millions and millions of years for it to actually turn into a diamond. And you really, really have to dig deep to be able to find them. The keyword research is exactly the same thing. You have to spend your time starting at the top layer to be able to dig down deep, to be able to find these really, really profitable keywords. And what I'm referring to, diamonds here, are your profitable keywords. So what you've got to do is, using a very simple formula, which I'm going to share with you shortly, is to be able to find these profitable keywords, you've got to dig down deeper. And you've got to use the right tools and the resources to be able to do that. Now, in terms of resources, for example, people use drilling machines, really, really high class, sharp drilling machine drill bits, basically machinery that can dig really, really deep into these grounds. Same thing here. We're going to be using Market Samurai as one of our resources to be able to find our keyword researchers and also make sure that we do find these proper keywords. Another thing is that we're going to be using sites such as Amazon. We're going to be using another site such as eHow, and also too ClickBank. So these are some of the resources that you just got to keep in mind that we're going to be targeting and using along the way. And I'll share with you also too exactly how to go about doing the keyword research through there. But just remember the concept of diamonds in the rough. And I know there's a big story that's been around for decades that talks about diamond in the rough. If you haven't heard of that story, just go and look it up on Google and look up diamonds in the rough. And it's a really amazing story. But basically, that's the concept that I just wanted to put through. Diamond in the rough is related to basically how we're going to be able to dig down deeper to be able to find these diamonds. And those diamonds are basically our keywords. And we need to make sure we do our keyword research correctly and properly as well. Okay, so that's keyword research. And I'm going to be showing you very, very shortly exactly how to go about doing this. But I just thought I'd give you a quick overview of how this all works and how it all plays into point, because this is just really your basic understanding of how keyword research works. The next thing you need to consider as well is just the process. This you can also basically outsource to your virtual assistants. I'm giving sort of also an overview as well in terms of how this all works, because if, say, for example, after you finish this webinar, you want to give this to a virtual assistant, they can watch this webinar and basically take it on board and just pretty much just follow this step by step. And there's a few steps that we do take on board. The first thing is coming up with the idea. That's the first thing. And this is where I'm going to share with you Amazon, ClickBank, and also all the other resources I just mentioned. Then once you've come up with the idea, then you want to do your keyword research. And the keyword research is basically taken through Market Samurai. And this is where, as I mentioned to you, make sure you do have a copy of Market Samurai. I mean, it doesn't cost very much to have, but you can trial it out for free for the first week or two. Then, after you've done the keyword research, then what we want to do is to make sure that we do pick the right niche, the ones that are profitable. Pick profitable niches. This is really it. It's really the 3-phase simple steps. And this, as I said, you can outsource to a virtual assistant and they can pretty much go through and do this all for you. And then just come back to you and give you, say, a spreadsheet of exactly what niches they've found that are profitable, that don't have much competition in it, and potentially could make you quite a bit of income. Now, I'm not going to say to you that you're going to make a lot of income overnight. This is a long-term process and it's not a quick rich get scheme. I don't teach those kind of things. I just want to be upfront with you that it does take a few months for any of these two things to come to fruition. And if you've been following both Pat Flynn and myself from Smart Passive Income, we've taken this process on board and it's taking us at least 6 months to get to where we are right now. But we are now starting to see passive income coming from our niche websites. And these are the things that will help build you to have passive income over a longer period of time. So that's what I'm basically saying to you is that just be patient with this, but this is the key ingredients that you do need. Okay, so it's pretty simple. 3-step process. Think of the ideas. Then from those ideas, take it on board and do your keyword research. And then from there, the third part is to pick a profitable niche from those keywords that you've chosen. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to also share with you, before I do jump into all the different ideas, I'm going to share with you ways to be able to find ideas. And there are basically 4 ways that I go about looking for profitable niches or looking for niches that are potentially viable. And we can use a very simple thing. This is what I also learned from Pat as well, and also a lot of other people have been doing this as well. Okay, the first thing is that to find some ideas, we can look at 3 areas. The first one is our passion. The second is the pain. And third is problems. And I'll explain to you what all these mean as well and how we generate ideas from these. Excuse me. Okay, so let's just take a look. For example, the first one is passion. You want to probably look at yourself and go, okay, what are some of the things that I'm passionate about? You might list out, say, 5 different topics. It could be in any order, but basically you're just doing a brainstorming here. And you think to yourself, what are the 5 things that I'm passionate about that I could potentially be writing about and that I want to share with people? So, for example, one of the passions I love is snowboarding. That's just a passion that I have. I also enjoy thoroughly as well too, dining. Basically, we go out and eat at different restaurants all the time. So I could probably even go into a niche talking about different food, different type of things like that. So those are some passions, and you could basically think of these things. You know, after this webinar, you could go into and sit down and just put a list down with 3 columns, one in passion, pain, and problem, and write down those things. Now, the next thing here is pain. The question you've got to ask yourself is, what are some of the pains that I'm going through right now? It could be related to things that I'm not able to accomplish right now. Could be physical problems like back pain, anything that you think could be a problem right now for you or pain right now for you. Not able to get your website working, to set up website. I know this is a huge problem for a lot of people. And this is why I teach about outsourcing, because you can find people to be able to help you do that. So these are possible topics, and you can turn these into niches to be able to share with people, to be able to help them and provide a solution to their pain. Now, the final thing, which is also very similar to pain, but this is a problem to solve. A problem could be anything relating to today's problems on the internet. We could be looking at different areas, and this is where I was talking about going to Amazon, ClickBank, or eHow, and you can see what the problems are. I'm just thinking of a problem right now that we're trying to solve at this point in time. Okay, let's say, for example, the iPad. The iPad currently doesn't have a camera. I mean, I know that in about a month's time, or actually in a few days' time, Apple is releasing the new one, the iPad version 2. But that was a problem that was back then. And in order to be able to solve that, people were actually writing articles about what kind of tools, what kind of resources you could do, what kind of software you could install to be able to get it to work with a camera. That's, for example, another problem. Another problem is how to podcast, for example, using iTunes. That's a huge problem, I find, because a lot of people just don't understand the whole concept of how iTunes works. Those things are very much problems that you can look at, and you could just step back and just think to yourself, all right, what are maybe some of the 5 problems that I can see currently in the market, and also for myself, that I want to be able to find a solution for. And if you can find those things and write out just a list, like one of passion, one of pain, and one of problem, and say 5 down in each column, you have yourself a nice list to be able to work from. And from those lists of things that you've got there, we can do our keyword research. But basically what I'm trying to do right now is to show you how to generate some ideas to start on finding your potential niche markets. And what I find is that if you do things such as writing about a passionate topic, you'll end up doing a lot more of it. And that's the thing. If you do find a topic that you really are passionate about, and there is a viable niche for it, or a viable market for it, then I recommend going for that. Because what will happen is that having passion in your niche will really definitely shine and make it so much easier for you to be able to write the content, create your website, and you'll have fun doing it at the same time. Okay, so that's the first part on determining how to generate some keywords. This is just one part. I'm going to share with you 3 other parts, which I'm going to do right now. Is I'm going to just jump over to my browser. And on the browser, as I mentioned, there are 3 different resources you can jump over to. The first one is eHow. eHow is a very popular site. And all you have to do is, if you want to go to eHow, just simply go to www.ehow.com. And on eHow, they're basically a very popular site on how-to topics. There are tons and tons of articles written by a lot of people on here. And what you'll find is that if you want to look for some ideas, to gain some more ideas, is to, if you scroll down to the bottom here, right now I'll scroll down for you. On the left-hand side, you'll see a whole section here that says Top 10 eHows. I'll just highlight it for you so you can see that. And you can potentially get lots and lots of ideas from here, because these are what people are searching for. And remember, as I said to you, generating ideas is one part, but to find out if these ideas are feasible for any particular niche market that you're going to, and if it's going to be profitable, you need to see what the market's looking for. Let's just take, for example, how to change startup programs in Windows 7. That's an interesting one. I don't even know how to do that myself. So I'd be looking at it and go, okay, maybe that could be a potential market. How to make a graph in Excel. Yeah, that's a good one. How to make a crock pot roast. I think this one I would probably definitely do. So potentially there are ideas here already which you could just put into your market research in Market Samurai and potentially find out to see if these markets are viable and if there's much competition, and if you can set it up to be a long-term one. So that's one area you can find some ideas for. Alternatively, you don't have to look at the top 10 here. You could just jump into all these eHow articles on the left-hand side with all these categories, as you see right down here, and just click on any one of them. Let's say, for example, I'm interested in, say, fitness. You know, if you've been following me, I've been fully into the P90X program, and I'm already into the second phase of it, week 5. And since doing it, I've been learning so much more about diet, nutrition, and all those kind of things. And as you're probably aware, I've also been doing a site on 3-day detox, which is also related in the fitness and health industry. So I'm really interested in all this kind of stuff, and that's why I'm happy to write and set up my team to be able to write in those categories. Now, coming back to it, as you can see right here, there are numerous sub niches inside the fitness category. And any of these might interest you. If you find something that you're interested in the category, take a look at it. And you might choose something like, for example, I don't know, martial arts and fitness disciplines. We might take that one and then plug it into Market Samurai and find sub niches of these, or niches within those. Or maybe even take this as being a niche itself. So, that's just some ideas there. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what you could do with eHow. Another great resource to check out is Amazon, amazon.com. And this is a very, very good site to hop onto because it is probably one of the largest, it is the largest products-based site across the internet. And with amazon.com, they've got literally every item that you can think of. If it doesn't have it, I'm pretty sure it'll come up sooner or later. But what I really want to share with you is focusing on the books category, because what we're going to be providing and setting up these niche sites is providing information resources. We're not going to be focusing too much on selling products, but we will probably, even if you want, you can sell products through Amazon. But what I would do is go to books and have a look first. That's what I would do. Click on books. And inside the books section, you'll see on the left-hand side, there's going to be plenty of categories to choose from. And this is how I found a few of my niche markets that I've gone into as well. I just basically jumped over here in the Amazon book section and firstly saw a few of them. Now, there's a few of them that you could look at. First thing I would probably do is look into the best books selling section. That's really, really important. The reason why I say that is because it's firstly up-to-date information, and secondly, this is what people are saying that the best books of 2010 or award winners, etc. And I usually just check out the New York Times bestsellers list. You can get some ideas from there, because if it's obviously made up at the top of the list on New York Best Times, then there's potential as well to be able to find that market and go into that market, because there's probably tons and tons of people also looking at that same market as well. Little trick I want to share with you. You'll notice that on every book, it allows you to be able to look inside. And you can see right here, I'm just going to highlight it for you. It says look inside. If you click on there, you'll be able to jump in and have a look what the content is all about. That doesn't seem to interest me, but I might have a look at this one, the help. Let's click on this. If you click on that book, it will take you into their section, and then you'll be able to click on another link, which will be able to show you what's inside the contents page of the book. And basically, that's where you could actually potentially create a few of your subcategories inside your potential niche. So let's click here to look inside. It's taking a little bit of time to load up, but bear with me. Okay, fantastic. So we're loaded in right now to the book called The Help. And inside The Help, if you just scroll through, normally you'd only see the contents page, but that's all we need. And inside the contents page, it gives you a lot of different topics that you could choose from. And these might be of interest to you. You might even just say, look, I just want to create a niche site based on this particular topic. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. They love to put all this copyright material here. It doesn't seem to... Just to even get to the contents page, you have to get through like 6 or 7 different pages. How funny. Okay, The Help. Yep, come on. Okay, chapter 1. Doesn't look like it's very, very, very good in helping us for finding the contents page. It might be just taking a bit of time to load up. But essentially, if the book has a contents and you can preview the contents, then definitely hop into it and have a look. I'm just going to keep scrolling down to see if I can find that contents page, so that way I can share with you and show you what to look out for. The Help. Nope. It's not showing you any. But essentially, majority of the books, this one obviously doesn't show, but majority of the books usually has a contents page. And inside the contents page, it would really show to you exactly some potential topics. Obviously, this one doesn't have it. And I assume the reason why it doesn't have a contents page is because it's just it seems like it's just a novel. So you probably want to avoid novels, obviously. But have a look inside Amazon, and you'll be able to find plenty of ideas and ideas to be able to write your content for niche sites or choose a niche site. All right, so that's basically a New York best time seller. I'm going to jump back now to all the different categories as well, because that's also another option to see what potential niches you can go into. And as I mentioned to you just earlier, I did choose a few topics from Amazon previously, and they've worked out really well. And it's really amazing because Amazon comes up with so many different topics that I would never have thought of. Okay, I'm just scrolling back up. Here we go. So on the left-hand side where it says Amazon categories or book categories, just right here, there are plenty of topics for you to choose from, like arts and photography. Arts and photography. There's audiobooks, biographies, business investing, computers and internet, cooking and food wine, crafts and hobbies. Basically anything you can literally think of. And if you just click on any of these categories, you'll be able to go in there and see exactly what kind of potential niche markets that there are available out there. And you just basically take one of these ones and write it down on your list. And what I usually would do is to just choose up to about 10 to 15 topics that you might be interested in from Amazon Books, write it down on a piece of paper, and then shortly we'll plug it into Market Samurai so that you can see exactly how to find those niches. Okay, that's Amazon. The last thing I want to share with you is ClickBank. ClickBank is one of the number one selling affiliate websites out there. Basically, people put products onto that website, information products specifically only. They don't sell like physical products like Amazon does, but there are hundreds and thousands of digital products on ClickBank, which there are so many people out there wanting to sell their products. And if you have a look here in the marketplace, just at the top where you see here, you can go in and search the marketplace to find potential information products. And this is the specific place where I went and found out about 3-day detox, because that was just a topic that came up through searching through the health and fitness category that we went through. And right here. So what I did was basically I went in there, had a look at the home and garden category. Sorry, not home and garden, health and fitness category. So I'll click on that, for example. By the way, these are all the categories here. And what I did was I did a search, not just like a particular term, but what I did was I went over here and I sorted everything all by, I did an advanced search. Here we go. I did an advanced search here and I sorted everything with a gravity. And I'll explain to you what gravity is. Gravity is basically a metric that ClickBank uses so that they can determine how popular a product is. Anything above, say, 6, a gravity of 6, is a product that sells. If it's below 6, I would keep away from it. Just so that you can get an idea, there are some ridiculous high gravities. They might have 1,000 or 2,000. It means it's an extremely, extremely popular product, and that's something that you could potentially sell because it's demanded. Or if people are getting, say, 20 or 30 as a gravity, then those are also good products as well to check out. So I just excluded about into keywords, but what I did was I went by gravity and I just basically punched in number 7 and I clicked on the search button right here. And what will happen is that it'll go back to ClickBank and it'll return a whole list of products or potential niches that you can see right here that have gravities above above 7. And you can even tell how much the products are. So let's say, for example, as I said, I've clicked on here, and this here has a gravity of 836, which is an extremely high amount. And they're getting, say, like 50% commission, which is excellent. And the product's only $47.56. So potentially this looks like a market that you could promote. It looks like a commission crusher converter on ClickBank. I don't even know what that is, but I'd probably avoid that for me because it's not a market I'm interested. Here we go. Perfect. The Diet Solution Program. This is right up my alley because this is what I've been doing. As I can see, this one's got a gravity of 396. So this would be a perfect one that I'd choose, and I look into it and go, okay, the Diet Solution Program. Find out what it is. It's weight loss and nutrition site with awesome sales videos filled with real content. Find out how to blah, blah, blah. So you can click on this button here that takes you to the affiliate site, which I'll copy right now, and I'll just open up a new window for you. And basically these affiliates have already created the ebook for you, and all you have to do is sell it. You can create a niche site based on this, and every time you sell one of their books or sell one of their products, you get 50% commission from it, depending on their program. A majority of them are usually about 50% or so. So this is the diet solution. And I'll put this down as being a topic that I may be interested to do some research on. And I'll jump into Market Samurai to research and find that out, which I'll talk about very, very soon. So that's basically ClickBank. That's just another way to be able to find a potential market for you to be able to do some more research on and generate some more ideas as well. All right, so that's the 3 or 4 different ideas that you can potentially jump into to find and do some research on creating some ideas. Before I do jump into talking about keyword research, I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what I've just talked about, so that way you can see exactly where we're up to right now. So I've given you a few ideas to generate generate markets, I should say, niche markets. Generate niche markets. Okay, so basically from those 3 sites that I gave you and also 1 idea, which was the 3 principles, the 3 P's I call them. Remember, passion, pain, and problem. Then I gave you the second website, which is eHow. Third was Amazon. And finally, the 4th one was ClickBank. So these are basically 4 areas which you can go out there and find potential niche markets to be able to generate ideas from. Now, the reason why I gave you only 4 is because I don't want to overwhelm you. I have a list of about 10 to 15 different areas where you can go into to find it. And in this webinar, it's a bit difficult to cover all of them because I'll probably go for 2 hours long because there's a lot of great markets out there. But what I would suggest, just to get you started, because I really want you to be able to take action and also implement some of the stuff that I'm teaching right now, is just pick one of these or 2 of these areas and generate or find between 10 to 15 topics that you're interested in writing about or creating a niche site for. That way it'll get you started. And as you notice, I'm giving you some action steps right here. So I'll probably recap on this at the end, but I would recommend you go out there, do some research or to generate some ideas and just pick 10 to 15 topics and get started on there. Then that way, you're prepared for next week's webinar, which is what I'm going to be talking about, is how to build these websites up. All right, so let's move on to the next part. The next part I'm going to be sharing with you is now how to do your research once you've selected your niche. Oops. Okay, so basically there are going to be a few things to do research. This is really the crux because I'm going to be showing you right now inside Market Samurai on what to do. So now let's say, for example, you've picked your niche and you're happy with a particular topic and you want to find out whether or not there's potentially profitable niche, and then find out whether or not there's much competition and so forth. And this is where it comes down to the real crux of everything. Now, before I do jump into Market Samurai, let's talk a little bit about what things to look for. What are the key components to be able to find out whether or not your niche is profitable? Okay. And these are based on statistics shown from Google and also the system that generates it. So I'm going to go through what is going to be profitable, and that's what you need to look for. Remember, the key term here is profitable niche. First thing is relevance. And the reason why I'm emphasizing on this is relevance. Didn't obviously write that. First thing, the reason why I'm emphasizing this is make sure that you do pick a market that is going to be relevant to what the market wants. Say, for example, I've done this actually, and I was actually surprised it came out to be this way. I did some research on driving as I was talking about cars, BMW, Mercedes, etc. And I drilled down and I found a niche market that I thought would be very, very good for me. And the niche market, which I'm happy to share with you, is called Driving Crash Course. Now, you'll probably go and find it and say, okay, great, this looks like an excellent market targeting. And yes, it was. And then when I started targeting for it, interesting thing enough was there was not much traffic and there was not much profitability left on this market. But from the results and the statistics that I did, it showed that there was potential. But the thing that I've realized was that Driving Crash Course could mean 2 things. One, it could mean that you're looking for driving crash courses to attend to, like workshops where you learn how to prevent crashes. And I don't know if I could write a website about that because I'm not providing a service, which is the wrong market I went to. Or two, a driving crash course could mean a short course on learning how to drive. So there's two markets that I could potentially have targeted. And unfortunately, I couldn't determine which one because I didn't know exactly what the market was. And that's what I'm coming back to, is make sure that when you are doing your keyword research or your topic research, that it has to be relevant. And that's just an example of what happened there. So if you go and check it out, a driving crash course, I'm currently ranked number 2 for that website, but I'm not getting much traffic because the topic that I'm talking about is not relevant to what the market wants. And I discovered that only recently. Luckily for me, I only spent a month on it, so it wasn't a waste. You know, if I had spent a whole year on it, then I'd be really kicking myself and saying, hey, what the heck have I done? So I just want to emphasize that. That's something we'll be talking about and how relevant it is. And I'll show you inside Market Samurai what that's all about. Second thing is traffic. And as I said to you, relating back to that driving crash course site, there was showing statistics. If you got first page of Google and also first ranking, you get a lot of traffic. And let me just explain to you. The whole idea is that you want to be able to generate traffic to your website. There's no point creating a niche website and there's no one that's going to visit it because you're not going to make any sales. You're not going to be able to put ads on there to be able to sell anything. So this is a very, very crucial part. And something we're going to also find out very shortly is how to do research on finding out traffic. Now, let me just explain to you how it works. Basically, if you target it and you land on the first page of Google and you're ranked number 1, roughly about 40 to about 50% of the traffic, I'm just going to say 40% as a figure right now, of the traffic will go straight to your website if you're ranked number 1. Number 2, from what I gather, is about 20 something percent. And just remembering all these statistics off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly. It's about 22% or something like that. Don't quote me on these. But you can see there is a bit of a drop there. So if you're ranked number 1, you get about 40% of the traffic on the first page of Google. Second ranking, you get about 22% of the traffic. Then if you rank number 3, you get, I think, about 5% or so. It's probably a little bit more than that. And then fourth and so forth. And it keeps dropping, obviously, from there. So there is quite a big difference in terms of rankings. And our goal here is to be able to rank number 1, which is why I'm going to teach you and show you what to do to determine how quickly it is to get up to number 1 placing and to get that kind of traffic. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing that you got to check out for is competition. What's your competitors like? And this is something that a lot of people overlook. Competition is crucial because you want to know if you can outrank your competitor. Say, for example, your competitor currently is placed at number 1 position on Google, which is at this spot here, and you want to be able to get up to that spot. You got to find out how competitive, how long this site has been on the market, what kind of strategy have they got in place, which we'll find out inside Market Samurai, and whether or not it's viable for you to be able to outrank them. If it is, then great, we can implement that strategy and just go from there. And then finally, number 4 is commerciality. Okay, and we need to look at how much your keyword could be potentially worth. So the last part, as I said, is commercial value or commerciality. And inside Market Samurai, we'll find out from there. Basically, what happens is that Market Samurai will draw the data from Google, telling us how much each potential keyword is worth in Google's eyes, and from there we can do estimates on how much value you're going to be getting out from that particular keyword. And every single keyword will be different. You know, you might get a keyword that's worth, say, $10 per click, or you might get another keyword that might be worth like 10 cents a click. Obviously, you want to go through and see which one would be around the mid-range, because it doesn't necessarily mean that if your keyword's worth $10 a click that it's not going to be competitive. So we need to look at those factors. All right, so that's basically, those are the factors that you need to be aware of. And I just want to emphasize this again, because these are the things that you need to look out for, the 4 factors: relevance, traffic, competition, and commercial value. And keep these things in your mind because that's what we're going to be looking at inside Market Samurai. because as soon as we jump off from this page, I'm going to go into full gear right now and just show you all about Market Samurai. Okay, let me have a look right now. I'll just jump over to Market Samurai. Let's have a look. Okay, here's Market Samurai. For all the first timers out there who've never used this particular software, I can totally understand. It was very, very overwhelming when I first started because I had no idea. I was looking at these tabs and all these kind of things. What I want you to do is just to keep your focus on this part for this first webinar, keyword research, and also SEO competition. These are going to be the two only modules that we'll be looking at in this particular webinar. In the other webinars, we'll be looking at the other modules, but in this particular webinar, we're just going to focus on keyword research and SEO competition. So you don't have to worry too much about the rest, and let's just focus on these. Now, when you do first open up Market Samurai or ask you to create a new keyword, which I haven't created as yet, but simply just enter a new keyword and basically jump into there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a keyword in there that I've basically done a little bit of research on. And the keyword that I've done is, actually I should explain to you. What I've done is that as I said, I'm interested in the fitness and health industry. So what I've done is I've drilled down a little bit deeper inside the fitness and health industry, particularly inside the weight loss area. And we've done a little bit of research into there. So I'm going to type in weight loss, which is a very, very popular topic or niche market. And we'll click update. All right. Now, in front of you, what you'll see is that, I'll just highlight this for you. You'll see a new tab that's created with a keyword called weight loss. That's just a topic I chose. I mean, it may be anything from like BMW accessories. It could be fitness books, etc. I don't know, whatever topic you've chosen inside your list that I mentioned to you to do. Once you jump out of this webinar, you can go back and have a look. And any of those topics that you've chosen, put them in here and we'll dig deeper to find out how competitive the market is and also what potential niche markets we can find for you. So once you've typed that in, what you'll notice is that you'll come back as well to the same screen. What we want to do is jump over here and click on keyword research. And I'm going to show you right now how to be able to find out what potential keywords there are available for your particular niche. So what you do is click on generate keywords. Now it may take a little bit of time to be able to find them, but what happens right now is that Market Samurai jumps over to Google, or loads up Google keyword tool and says, okay, I want to find out what are other keywords that have been searched relating to weight loss, and it will generate a whole list for you. What will happen is that it will generate like a list of, anything between 100 to 800 keywords, and it will always ask you for capture. But if you've got an account with Google AdWords, you can enter that in and you'll be able to generate more than 800 keywords. But essentially what's going to happen now is that it's just going to find out for you what are the potential keywords for this topic called weight loss. And it will take a little bit of time. That's why you're watching it right now. It's up to 33%. But the essential part here is that once you plug that in, it will come back with you and give you a few results. And then from there, what we'll do is analyze these keywords to be able to determine the relevance. That's the first thing. Find out what the traffic is, as I mentioned. And also to find out what kind of commercial value it has. Competition is a separate thing. Anyway, it's come back and it's generated 100 active keywords, which is fantastic because that way I can determine what other keywords are available for weight loss. So as you can see, there's acai berry weight loss, apple cider vinegar weight loss, best weight loss pills, best weight loss programs, etc. There's a whole stack of these terms and keywords that are available, which is beautiful because this is what Market Samurai does for you, which will usually take you 10 times longer. I think it only took me about a minute to be able to get these results, whereas before when I was to go through and get this manually researched, it'd take me over at least an hour to be able to find this kind of information. Now, what I would do is recommend to you what to do is to get rid of the things that are free or anything that we don't want people to be able to searching for free information or anything that's not related to weight loss. So I would enter in here where it says negative keywords, the word free. And what will happen is that Market Samurai, if you click on update, will remove the keywords that are free. So it went from 100 down to 97 active keywords. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the first thing you want to do with the negative keywords. Just get rid of the ones that are free, the ones that are just like there's so many words out there that we don't want to be targeting for, that encourages people to come and just take a look and not spend money. So we want to target, as I said, profitable keywords and keywords that are going to be money making. Then you can also choose to optionally put in positive keywords that you really, really want, and make sure that they're there. I can't see anything that I want right now that's going to be positive, but essentially, if, say, for example, there's a keyword in there that you think needs to be kept on, then you put it in there. It might be something like ultimate. And what will happen is that if you click on update, Market Samurai basically filters everything that only has ultimate in there, and as you can see, that's only active. But I don't want that. So basically, that's all you need to worry about. All right, once you've done that, as I said, you've filtered it through, you've done your filtering process, click on keyword analysis. And what will happen right now is that you'll jump over here and it will show to you a whole lot of information. Now, I know you're probably overwhelmed right now. I was at first when I first looked at this, and I said, I don't know what the heck this is all about. What I'm going to do is break it down for you and make it very, very simple, so that way you don't have to get confused and worried about it. First thing is, let's take a look at SEO traffic. This is the potential traffic that you'll be getting at #1 ranking on Google. So say, for example, if your term or your keyword ranked up at #1, as I was talking about before, what we want to look for is to find out, at least receive a minimum of 80 traffic visits a day from your #1 ranking, as you can see right there. That's crucial because we don't want to go into a niche where there's like less than 80 clicks or 80 visits a day, because it won't be worthwhile for your time. You could up that limit up to maybe 200 if you want. You know, it's up to you, but at least a minimum of 80. Then phrase to broad match ratio. What does this mean? A lot of people have asked me this question, and to actually clarify it for you, basically it's, I'll explain it to you right now. Actually, I'll just jump over here. Say, for example, I chose weight loss, as you can see. Now, the phrase to broad match ratio is basically saying if any of the keywords that I put in there, say, might be weight loss diet. This would probably have a higher percentage saying that it is matching to that. If it's got weight loss in it, the percentage to match up to the phrase to broad match is much higher. So it might be saying it's like 80% match, approximately. I mean, these are just estimates I'm doing just to show an example. But if you had something like lose weight, even though it has the word weight in it, it doesn't have loss in it. It probably might be only a broad match of, say, maybe 5%. That's just an example. Don't quote me on this, as I say. But basically what you want to do is just make sure that you do have a very close matching phrase in the keyword that you're researching for. The higher, the better. That's basically how I can explain it to you. If you want to read up more information about it, you can check it out, Market Samurai site. But just remember this key term. I usually change it to about 25% as a phrase to broad match ratio. And basically, the higher it is, the better, because obviously that's the keyword term that you're looking for and potential niche that you're going to drill down to. Now, what I would do as well too is I would turn off trends. Don't need that because it's just extra data there that's just in the way, in my opinion. Okay, let's have a look at AdWords. This is where it comes down to commerciality. What we want to do is to find out from AdWords which has a high value. And I usually look at, say, a minimum of 75 cents per click, just as a minimum. This is not an end all or gain all kind of thing. You just basically use this as a value. If it has a minimum of 75 cents per click on an advertisement that it has on Google, then basically I know that this is potentially a profitable keyword that I could use. And obviously, the higher the value amount, the better it is for you. But we start usually off at about 75%. Then the next thing is lately I've been turning off SEO competition, because the reason being is because if there is a particular market out there that does have a higher competition, but the competition is very low in the market, then you could be potentially missing out. That might not make sense right now to you, but I'll explain it to you shortly when I jump over to the SEO competition module. But basically, that's all you need to know. And yes, that's it. 80, 25, and 0.75. Don't worry too much about these, and don't put a minimum in there. And just have AdWords value and SEO value all ticked. Once you've done that, just simply click Analyze Keywords. And what we'll do is that Market Samurai will jump over to Google and start to fill all these columns in for you, all this missing data. And that will help us determine bring up some statistics and allow us to determine whether or not these keywords are viable. This usually does take a bit of time. It may take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes to load up. And I thought if it loads up pretty quickly now, then it's okay. I'll see how long it takes to load, but if it takes too long to load, I'll jump in and we'll go through another example. So that the example that I've preloaded already. Basically, what we want to do, just to explain while it is actually loading it up right now, is that what we want to do is find out if there's a high amount of traffic coming through. So as I mentioned, in terms of traffic, you want to have at least a minimum of 80 there. Then the phrase to broad match ratio is a minimum of 25. And anything that has more than 0.75 cents click, which is 75 cents click, would be ideal. And then from there, we'll analyze those results and determine which are going to be potentially good keywords. But that's only the first part, because the second part that I'll be showing you very, very soon or very shortly is the competition. Okay, fantastic. Now, the good thing is that it didn't take as long as I thought it would, and we can see some results here right now. I'm just going to scroll down and I'm just going to show you. Perfect. All right. Now, as I mentioned, because I eliminated SEO competition, you'll see that these terms up here have a very, very high amount of traffic. And immediately I would probably be guessing that these are going to be very competitive markets, but I won't discount them, because the fact is that I've been able to find markets that I thought were really competitive because of the high traffic, but in actual fact, it wasn't that hard to be able to get up there. So I usually just look at these: weight loss program, quick weight loss. This is not too bad. This is something that could be potential a market. So what I'll do is I'll click on here. And okay, before I do jump into it, actually, I want to explain a few things. So this thing here, it says here, this keyword here, has weight loss programs, has 1,250 potential visits on the first page of Google, first ranking of Google every day. So if you could get that, you could get easily over 30,000 visits a month, which is a lot of traffic, which is great. It says here the average clicking rate through from Google is about $3.03. That's how much Google would pay for anyone who clicks on any of the advertisements that are on your website. So imagine if you had, 10% of this value that's coming through, or even more. Like, say, for example, if everybody here clicks through to your site, you'd make $3,786 a day. That's just estimates. I'm not going to say this is true, because these are only estimates, and I haven't seen this happen or work, because that's very, very high. I think in terms of being able to achieve good results, most of the websites that have not much competition with it and are viable, profitable niches have around about, say, between 200 to about 500 SEOT, which is search engine traffic, per day. And those ones are pretty good, because if you're earning, say, $1 per click, or maybe $1.50 per click, you're doing pretty well. Okay, the computer's just running really slow because there's a lot that's going on right now. But as I said, I've clicked on quick weight loss, and I've opened up a new tab over here. So I'll just click on here right now. For people who can't see what I'm doing, at the top here, I've clicked on here. I'm just going to highlight it for you so that way you can see. I've clicked on and opened up a whole new keyword that's from the weight loss. And I've selected it. Now, don't worry about doing keyword research on that again, because at this point in time, we just want to find out how competitive this market is. So what we do is click on SEO competition. And from here, you want to click on this tab that says generate results. And once again, it'll jump back into Google and find out what are the top 10 competing websites for that particular term. And obviously, if there's results that we're showing right here, which you'll see in Matrix very soon, I'll explain to you how all this works. And this helps you determine how competitive the keyword would be and if it's a viable niche to jump into. So this one is usually a little bit quicker than the keyword research that jumps to those results, because it finds these results pretty much instantly. So it's nearly done anyway. And once it's done, I'm going to explain to you everything that's here. Now, this is really, really powerful. And as I said, for the first timers here, you're probably just going to go look at this and go, what the heck does this all mean? All these numbers and all these colors. At first, when I saw it, I was going, yeah, what is all this? But over a period of time, when you understand how this works, it's very, very powerful. Immediately, I'll just give you a hint. This is a very, very competitive niche. And the reason why I see that is because it's all red. So I'll explain to you what these colors all mean. Firstly, red means that it's really competitive and it's not something that Market Summary recommends to go into. Orange means it's okay, but still I wouldn't recommend it. Green means it's a go-ahead. So, simple terms, the more green in a row that you see across for any of these competing websites, the better it is for you, the more potential a profitable keyword that you can find. All right, so to make it simple, what I would usually do is I usually turn off the DA, which is domain age. I turn off Google index count. I turn off domain backlinks. And that's basically, I just leave it like that. The reason why I turn those off is because it's not as relevant as these values are, because domain backlinks is just an inaccurate way to say how many backlinks going back to the domain. And I'll explain to you in the next few webinars what backlinks mean, because that's all to do with traffic generation. For now, don't worry too much about it. You can find out a little bit more later on. But the most important thing is PR, backlinks to the page, and also all these other areas. I'll explain to you firstly. PR stands for PageRank, which is just a score that Google determines how well this site is. And for example, anything above 2 is actually a very competitive website. And as you can see, this one's got 4, this one's got 3, this one's got 5, this one's got 0. 0 means that's good and it's green, as you can see. This one's got red, which is 5. So immediately when I just look at this, there's a lot of reds, there's a lot of oranges. It means that this is an extremely competitive market, and this is not a market I'd recommend going into. And don't worry too much about these. Just make sure you find lots of green, and the more green that you have, the better it is. Less red, the better. Now, that's an extremely competitive market. What I want to show you is a market that I've recently found with the term quickest way to lose weight. And this is a SEO competition matrix of what it is in there. This is not so competitive. So I'm just waiting for it to load up. Fantastic. All right. Now, what you'll find is that for this particular term, it's not as competitive. Even though there are a few reds here, there is also a lot of greens, as you can see here. The reason why is I actually looked at this and went, okay, this is a potential good, profitable market, is because the traffic's good, and also too, the traffic and also the commerciality of this particular keyword is quite good as well. But the most important thing is, if you can see here, PR zeros, 0013, which is a wiki answers, 200220. Now, if you add all this up and it averaged it by the number there, anything below 3 or below 2.5 PR is good. So I'm going to add this up actually. So it'd be 1, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So an average PR of 1 that's around here is excellent. And this is a good market to go into. You'll notice that a lot of them though do have a lot of backlinks, which is red here, orange and red. Don't worry about this too much. I've actually outranked a lot of these kind of sites before in the past, even they've got a lot of them. But because a lot of them are not optimized for this particular keyword, quickest way to lose weight, then it's something that is viable for me to be able to go in there and just start taking on a high position. So that's basically it. that's how you do find a profitable keyword. And this is what I show and give to my virtual assistant. She basically goes through and follows this step-by-step procedure to be able to find keywords. And she's come back to me with a ton of potential markets we could go into, and I just basically choose them. And you can also outsource this to a virtual assistant to do. You can give them this video and they watch it, learn how to do the keyword research, and then come back to you and give you these kind of results. All right, I know that there'll probably be a few questions at the end, so I'll answer those towards the end when we have the Q&A. It's been a little bit over an hour, and I'll be wrapping up pretty soon because I do want to share with you some more key important things. Now, as I mentioned to you, you can easily outsource it to a virtual assistant, and I might as well actually share with you where to find some virtual assistants, because for people out there who want to be able to hire a virtual assistant, it's going to be very, very helpful. Just generally be able to help you to do all the research and to complete these sort of automated type of tasks or repetitive tasks. So a site that I usually go to find virtual assistants and for them to find virtual assistants for me, it's actually a finding service, is Ket Virtual Staff Finder. And basically, this is a service that's offered from my good friend Chris Ducker in the Philippines. I have found my VAs and also my programs through the service, and they give you very, very high quality virtual assistants for a very, 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 very good price. I mean, like, I'm hiring my full-time virtual assistant roughly for around about $300 a month right now. So, yeah, it's really, really good for anyone out there who wants to actually outsource all their niche sites development. And that's what I recommend to do. You could go out there and spend your time trying to find people at bestjobs.ph as well, or Odesk or Elance. But at the end of the day, save your time to do that and just let someone else find it for you. And I know Chris Ducker does charge a upfront fee, but it's only a once-off upfront fee, and they'll be able to find you a really, really good high-quality virtual assistant who can do this kind of stuff. So I just mentioned that anyway for you, so that way, if you are looking to outsource this whole area of market research and keyword research, then this is perfect for that. Okay, now let's move on. What I'm going to do is, as I said, I'm going to wrap up this call because it is getting very close to the end. But before we do, I want to give you an overview of what we've just talked about, so that way we can do a little quick recap. So I'll just open up my slides again. Okay, so I talked a little bit about, or in quite a lot of detail, about what is a niche and how you determine how to find a niche. I talked about like BMW as being one of the niches in the car market, if you remember that correctly. Then I talked about generating ideas for niches. So using the 3Ps principle, going to eHow, looking at Amazon.com, ClickBank, etc. And that's how you go about doing that. And as I mentioned to you, best thing to do is to go and find between 10 to 15 topics out of those ideas and write them down. And then take those topics and do some research and analysis of your ideas inside Market Samurai. So from those 10 to 15 topics that you've chosen, that you've written down, jump into Market Samurai and follow that step-by-step instruction that I just showed you on how to be able to determine whether or not these topics that you've chosen are profitable. And if not, dig down deeper and find some potential markets. And as I've just shown you, weight loss is an example of a market that I went into, but unfortunately that was a very, very competitive market. So I dug down deeper using the Market Samurai, and obviously I came to this particular keyword, which is called quickest way to lose weight. And it's very much the same as weight loss market. Okay, so that's basically what I've done. Now, I usually don't like to end these off without giving you some action steps. And as I said, these webinars here are designed for you to take action, because what I want to encourage you to do is to come back onto the next webinar, which is next week. As I said, it's going to be running over 8 weeks. I want you to be prepared to have topics already chosen, researched, found, and ready to be able to start implementing and choosing a domain and start your niche websites. So these are basically webinars for you to be able to just take your action on and do it. And I'm giving this to you guys all for free. You know, I'm not charging any of this. You know, it could be getting people paying me $500 an hour to be able to teach them all this stuff. but I'm not. I'm giving this all to you, and take as much information as you can and take as much action, because ultimately I want to see you all succeed. All right, so the action steps I want to give you, and I have already run over it pretty briefly as well, is review basically this webinar, and make sure if you don't have a copy of Market Samurai, download and get a copy of Market Samurai from Test Market Samurai. Okay, so just make sure you get a copy of that. It's free, as I said, to trial it out. testmarketsamurai.com. That's the first thing you want to do, so that way you can do your market research. Then the final step is write down or find 10 to 15 topics using the ideas that I've shown you. So whether it be through eHow, Amazon, ClickBank, or just from the 3 Ps, write down 10 to 15 topics that you'd like to go into. And then from there, plug those topics into a Market Samurai to find your profitable keywords. And that's basically what you need to do. So that's the action steps that I want you to take for the next week. I know that everybody has their own schedule and are quite busy, but if you can just put a bit of time aside, maybe an hour every night, just to do a little bit by bit, daily, then I know that you'll be able to find those markets. Or alternative, if you don't have time, find a virtual assistant, hire them, and get them to do the work for you, just like what I've done. All right, so what I want to do right now is, just before we do open up the call for Q&A, I want to just share with you what's going to be inside the next session. So that way you're aware of what's going to be coming up. So next webinar that's coming up is I'm going to be talking or sharing with you how to be able to find, firstly, how to find profitable domain names. Because not every domain name you choose is going to be right. And also as well, second part as well is how to set it up. Your website, which is your niche website. And once again, I'll share with you on how to get a programmer to do that all for you or outsource it for you. Okay, so just make sure that you do come to the next webinar, because it's really going to be very, very crucial to giving you the next step, the vital step on how to be able to set up these profitable domains and also to be able to set up your website. Fantastic. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the whole webinar for today.
Now, if you like more resources like this one, you can find them inside Mass Outsource Mastermind, along with video tutorials and step-by-step instructions showing exactly how I use them. To get a 30-day, no-risk trial membership to Mass Outsource Mastermind, simply visit freevideoset.com. Until next time, I wish you success in your quest for outsourcing.